Good day to everybody attending today, and then also to everybody that's going to watch our webinar for today. Today we're going to give a short but quite powerful webinar on how to use the Paint panel versus hours quoting on your system. This doesn't just have to do with your manual quotes, but also when you are importing the quotes, whether it be Outsurance, Boontex, NetAssess, etc. So we're going to just quickly show you how that works and what we've changed and how it's going to benefit you most of all. So the new feature that we've basically built in is, it's not just entirely a new feature, but it's almost like a rebuild of what we've done previously, because we realized that it's not really working for the panel beaters. So what we've basically done, just to give you a quick rundown of what we've changed, is I'm going to open up one of these guys quickly. So previously, when you were entering paint or blend or respray, whatever kind of painting that you were using, so let's take that one for example. So you would have paint panels or quantities that you would enter. So some guys would quote per panels and some would quote per hour. So then you would put in either one panel or 1 hour, it's for example, and then have a rate, and then that would calculate the value. So what everybody would do is, for example, if you wanted to have a value of 3,500 Rand, you would then, and you have a rate of, let's say, 350, you would then go and put in a quantity of 10. Not that you would necessarily be using or quoting on 10 hours to do that spray painting or painting, but that is what you would enter in order to get to the 3,500 Rand value that you would want on this quotation. So basically what we've changed for you is what you can see on the screen, which I'm going to run through with you, is that now you are going to do it in reverse almost. You're going to enter a value that you would like to have on this quotation. So you'd be quoting 2,400 or 3,500 Rand, whatever you are quoting, and you have a rate in the rate column, and then Veculum is going to work out the panels and the hours for you separately. So this is what we're going to do today. This gives you a little bit of a more accurate, an accurate reading on the panels that you're painting, as well as the hours, especially for the guys using the job clocks that would like to know the amount of labor that they are using for a specific job and how much they're quoting versus how much they're actually, what the painting actually was on the job analysis. So not that we're going to do the job analysis today, but it is very useful for the guys that have the job clocks as well. All right, so I'm just going to cancel this one for us quickly. So today I'm going to start on the setup menu for us on the quote and job defaults. Now, the first thing that we need to do is to just keep in mind, what do we need to set up in order to use this feature properly going forward? So if I go to the markups tab on the left-hand side, you'll see there's a labor hours per panel. Now, if you are quoting per panel, this also makes it a little bit more useful to you, so you can get the panel count as well as the labor hours that you are quoting for. So for mine, I entered 1.5 just to make the sum a little bit easier for us as well. So labor hours per panel. So for every panel that I'm going to paint, I'm going to use 1.5 hour labor. The paint material cost, I also want to go through with you. So we're keeping this at 58%. And what this basically means, as you can see, it's the ratio of the paint total that is for material cost. And that we're going to go through and explain to you on the manual quotes as well. So now we have that set. I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to take us to the work tab. And the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to import two different quotes, one from a Boontex and the other one from Outsurance, so you can see how the system is reacting and what it's doing as well. And then after that, I'm going to create a manual quote and show you how to enter the values and what it's doing and how to get those different values as well. So if I click on import quotes, the first one I'm going to import is an Autotex 1. I'm just going to say yes. I'm selecting, no, sorry, Santam Insurance. So the insurance details, I'm just going to go and select Santam here. I do have a Santam. It's not the exact same name as the import, so I don't want to create a new one. So the customer, I'm just going to change here quickly. There we go. All right. So as you can see, there's no errors on this quotation. The calculated total versus the external total is correct. That's also 100% fine. So we're just going to load the quote. What we want to focus on is what I'm going to show you after it's been imported. So now your quote's going to lie right at the top of the list. So we're going to click on our quotation to view it. Click on view. And this is basically what I want to get to. So we're going to scroll down to our respray, for example. Now on the Ubuntex quotes, when you import, what Ubuntex basically does is it gives you the working units, and then it's going to say, well, 10 working units is equal to this amount, or 1 hour. So what we've done is the panels, and this is 100% correct because you can see this is all just labor, as your little labor man will indicate to you. So for 1.5 panels or quantity or units, it is equal to 1.5 hours. Okay, just to explain that to you. So for all the different painting, the respraying of the door, the fender, etc., you'll just see the labor man. So the panels is equal to the hours for the Auditex quotes. And if I scroll down, you'll see the little paintbrush here, and that indicates material. So the material cost for the main work, metal, the paint, plastic material, etc., all of those lines that you'll see on Ubuntex, they will all fall under the materials section, which is then the paintbrush. Now for these ones, you don't need hours, and it also won't calculate any hours because there's no labor attached to those. So the labor is already indicated here at the top, just to show you what the Ubuntex quotes are going to pull through as. All right, I'm going to close this one, and then I'm going to import an OUTsurance one. Now the OUTsurance and net assess quotes, while I'm importing this one, works almost on the same basis as what the manual quotes work. So these will give you exactly the same outcome. I'm not going to add that customer. I'm going to choose the same one. Okay, so again, calculated total, external total is exactly the same. So this quote is fine. We're going to load the quote. I'm just going to say fixed amount there. All right, right at the top of the list, we're going to say view. Now if I scroll down again on this one, you'll see that this is a little bit of a different story. And this is going to be what we will be explaining on the manual quotes as well. Now, to show you how it's worked out and how you get to the different values, I'm going to give you some of the notes here. So let's take the first panel, the panel welded. So you'll see the little labor man and the paintbrush. All right. If I click on the default rates, you'll see that there is 1,818 is currently the default rate, but it might change here depending on the value that it needs to add, because we cannot change the value. We want that to be exactly as you import it. So what Veculum is doing is just going to alter the rest of the information to make it more accurate and correct for you. So if we have a value of 800 Rand, the way it gets to the amount of panels is you take the 800 divided by the 1,800.18, and that will give you the 0.4444. So we've also added 2 more decimals here, so you have 4 instead of just the normal 2. So that is how you get to the panel count. So it's the value divided by the rate. Now, when you have the panel count, you obviously also would like to see what the hours is for that. So how it works out, if you have in your setup, as you remember, we have the 1.5. So it's 1.5 hours for every panel. So if you take the 0.4444 times 1.5, you'll see that you will get to 0.666, if I remember correctly, and round it off, that gets you to 0.67. So each and every line like that, if you do have the labor and material together, that is what it will calculate to for the panels as well as the hours. This is what your net assess and our churns quotes will look like, and how it gets to different information. Okay, so I'd like to show our light and our plus clients and how it will work with your manual quotes, as well as the pro guys, sorry. So if we click on create, we're going to just start new quotation. I'm just going to enter anything there for us so we can just get started. All right, so I'm going to go straight down to the lines because this is what's important, what we're trying to demonstrate. So I can now either click on insert as you know, or I can use the quick add buttons, which I'm going to do now. So I'm going to double click on paint. Then we use the tab to go through the columns. So location, we're just going to say front, and we're going to say we're painting the front bumper, and tab through your lines. Now, when you get to the paint section, as you can see now, you'll have the value column first, then the rate, then panels, and then the hours, and then material as well, which can be indicated separately. So because our material cost is indicated as 58%, I'm going to show you how to get to that value that we show as well. So let's, for example, say that for this bumper, we want to quote 2,500 Rand, and we say tab. You'll see that it will alter the rate a little bit in order to keep the value the same. So now what we get here is we get 1.3889 panels, which it will work out automatically for you based on the value that you've given it. So now if I say tab again, and we're happy with the panels, we tab, and the moment I press enter, okay, you'll see right here at the top, don't focus there, look here. Then you'll see that, okay, for every manual quote that we create, we'll always have the labor and the paint material cost together, as it should be. And then we can see what the amount of hours is as well. Now, the hours are calculated by the panels times the factor of the 1.5 that we put in. So 1.5 hours for every panel. So again, 1.3889 times the 1.5 that is in your setup will give you the 2.08 hours. The material cost here, or the value for the material, you'll see is 1.45. There. So how do you get to that? It's the 2,500 times the 50, I almost said divided, times the 58% will give you the 1450 value. So that is the value of the material versus the labor for this entire value of paint that you've entered. Just to explain it to you like that as well. So your line total will stay the same. It will just give you the better breakdown of what the panels amount is, what the hour amount is, and what the material cost is as well. All right, so I'm going to pause there for a second quickly, and I'd like to know if anybody has any questions. So I'm quickly going to unmute you, those who can speak. If you can't, if you don't have a microphone with you, you can always just type the question for me. All right, so you're all unmuted. You're welcome to speak to me. Does anybody have a question? Nobody? Okay, well, that was well explained. Guys, if you have any questions or want to know how anything is put together, you're welcome to ask me. Nobody's typing anything. All right, I'm not going to keep you too long. So what I would like to do, let me just do that again quickly. What I would like to do is just show you one or two more lines. So I'm going to click on the blend action as well. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Blend. Then there we go. So let's say we need to blend the front bonnet, for example. Take another paint line. So the value would only be 900 Rand, because it's, you will see the blend factor I have is 0.5. So the rate is 1.8, and then it automatically throws out the value of 900 for me. But I'm always able to change that. So if I want to, for example, say this should be 850, I can do that. If I press tab, it will just alter the rate again a little bit. You'll already see the panel count here is 0.4722, and then the hours is 0.75. Your material cost is 522. So for each and every line, it will work exactly the same when it comes to your paint, and then it will work out the rest for you as well. Now, when it comes to the job clocks and the job analysis and all of that, to give you a little bit of a better idea concerning the hours quoted and what the guys are actually working, that's when the hours versus the panels, the hours that are used and the hours that the guys worked on comes into play. All right. I'm going to just say cancel here because we didn't really put any other information in there. That is basically it from my side. So I'm mostly just waiting for questions. Jeff, I'm going to unmute. Do you want to add anything to what I've said?
Yeah, so a lot of guys will sell, your goal as a panel beater is to sell however many hours you've got of labor available next week. So if you've got 3 guys working in your paint department, you've got a sprayer and 2 paint prep guys, then you want to sell 120 hours worth of paint prep. If they were working painting, if they're working 40-hour weeks, for example. So that's measured either in your panel count. So some guys measure by panels. Now, when we're talking about panels, we're talking about a unit. So a Ford Ranger's bonnet will be 1.5 panels, for example, and a Kia Picanta's left front fender will be 0.7 panels, for example. And that all that means is it just gives you a unit of measurement for how many hours that particular item, I'm going to call panel because now we're going to get confused between the unit of panel and the actual panel itself, of how much hours you've got to sell and how much hours you want to sell in order to fulfill that. So that's basically a measurement what you can use and determine how many hours you've sold for the jobs that are coming next week. Yeah, that's basically it. So you can either measure the hours or the panels depending on which is more useful for you.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff. Does anybody else have anything to add or to ask? I unmuted everybody again, so anything from your side? Nothing? All right, guys. Then I'm going to end off. Thank you so much for attending today, and we will let you know as soon as we get a new feature or something that we feel we can add value for you on the system, and then we'll have another webinar on that. Thank you so much for attending today, and we'll see you soon. Bye.